head-to-head Super Talk Mississippi.
Weird.
Live on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, right outside of MGM Park, the brand spanking new home of the Biloxi Shuckers. And for them, it's good to be home. Tim Bennett joins us, one of the co-owners of this Biloxi Shuckers franchise in the Southern League South Division, and also the owner of Overtime Sports. I'm impressed to see you awake, to be perfectly honest, because you guys have had a ton to do in the last month.
Yeah,
or maybe the last 6 months. I don't know.
Well, it's been since we started. Really, we've been pressing. We've been very fortunate that Yates, who had until August to get this park finished, has it finished. Substantially finished right now. June the 6th. So they've worked extra hard to get us in here a couple of months early and get the boys off the road.
Yeah, I know that it was kind of coming down to the ninth hour, so to speak, at one point, and then. From one day, there were quotes saying, well, it may not be done. And then the very next day, the mayor said, hey, a deal has been reached. And I know from a fan perspective, because we were hearing it on the radio, everybody was super excited to hear that, okay, yes, it will open on June 6th. On your side of it, too, did your excitement and happiness over getting that deal done mirror the fans?
Yeah, we were kind of surprised when we heard, the mayor said, hey, we're not going to be able to reach an agreement. And I knew that I had one more day to negotiate with the mayor, and I got to say he's great to negotiate with. He understands the bigger picture, which is the city that he's got to run, and so baseball can't always be right at the forefront of that. But he took and made the best decision. Myself, Ken Young, we came up with some concessions on our own, some financial concessions to make this all possible, and so here we are playing ball today.
Tim Bennett, co-owner of the Biloxi Shuckers, who are continuing a home series tonight with the Mobile Bay Bears. And this ball club has had a ton of things going against it. There are a lot of reasons that they maybe shouldn't have been as good as they have been on the field. Never mind all the off the field, just on the field. 55 games on the road to start the season, and yet they're 4 games clear of the Braves in first place in the Southern League and closing in on a first-half championship.
Well, the one word that I use to describe the team is resilient. When you think about the fact that they've been out in spring training for a month before they even get here, then they get here and have to play a couple of months on the road. It's not an easy task. It's not easy living out of a suitcase per se. And people say, well, they live in a hotel, they've got it good, but you're still living out of a suitcase. So it's not that easy. But they've been very resilient. I've had a chance to talk to a lot of the guys while they're on the road, and especially now with them being back home, and they're extremely excited and happy to be in Biloxi.
This isn't the first minor league ballpark that you've been a part of building and putting in place. We had that conversation a bit ago, and you mentioned Montgomery, which I've seen. It's close to where I'm from, and that ballpark has so much character to it, and it's just a great place. And, you mentioned some of the others. And then this one, we were talking earlier, the only comparison in terms of a view might be Pensacola. So of all the parks that you've been involved with, where does this one compare, differentiate, and what is the character, do you think, of this one here at MGM?
Well, Montgomery was a nice ballpark because it's built, pretty much in the downtown area in a district where it's helped improve that district. I like the way that one was built into the side of a train station, and then, of course, they added the rest of it down the third base line. Mm-hmm. Pearl was yet another different type of ballpark. It was built not so much in the downtown area, but built right off the interstate, very high visibility. But when we built that park, we built with the future in mind, thereby taking 70, 80 acres down so that it could be developed into the Bass Pro and the Outlet Mall and all the hotels and restaurants that you see now. So it's yet and still a different type of ballpark. When you look at Pensacola, which was one of the last ballparks built, that one in Birmingham, again, 2 different types of ballpark because of where they were built. One was built essentially on the water, Pensacola, and then the other was built downtown Birmingham. I look at this ballpark as a combination of all of those. It's built downtown. We've got property north of the ballpark that we talked about that will be developed into a hotel and entertainment center. You look out from the suite level and you can see the Gulf of Mexico. You look to your left and you see Beau Rivage, you see Hard Rock, you see downtown. And if you're in the suites, you can look down to your west and see the beaches. And so I think it's just this one is a combination of all the other ballparks. I know it's going to sound like I'm just saying this because I'm here, but I think this is one of the nicer ballparks, not just in the Southern League, but I think it'll come out to be one of the nicer ballparks in the country.
Tim Bennett, co-owner of the Biloxi Shuckers and also Overtime Sports. We're sitting right outside of MGM Park. It's the home of the Shuckers. Their opening homestand of the season after 55 games on the road. Baseball has if you're a baseball guy, it has kind of a magnetism. pulls you and sometimes doesn't want to let go. It sounds to me a lot like that's kind of what's happened with you. There was some vision for where you wanted to be or what you wanted to do, and you've done a lot of things in minor league baseball along the way.
Yeah, it has. I mean, when I first started out, I never truly envisioned, getting to this point. I had some goals that I wanted to meet, but baseball is that. It never lets you give up. It never lets you quit. And you see so many guys that are out here struggling in the minor leagues that have been in the minor leagues for 6, 7, 8, even 10 years, and they just can't let go. It's something that they
now, did you play
every
ball?
year. No, I never played baseball.
Really?
So, yeah, ironically, right?
And so how did you get into it and so interested in the in this side of it, in putting in franchise?
Cutting grass.
All right, and I was told that goes back to Busch Gardens, right? Because you said you're from Orlando.
Actually, we cut grass for the owners of the Tampa Bay Rays at the time.
Okay.
At one point, they were going to buy the San Francisco Giants and move them to St. Petersburg. They ended up expanding baseball by a couple of teams, Miami and St. Pete. And we happened to cut grass for the guys that owned the team. And so my beginnings were way different than everybody else. I never went to college. I never played baseball. In fact, the first full baseball game I went to, I was a manager. So I learned that my story is completely off the charts compared to some of these guys that are out here grinding every day.
So what's next for you? I mean, co-owner of this franchise, of this team, obviously just getting started here, but what's next?
Well, the one thing that I think is fair to, when you look at the state of Mississippi, baseball begins at 7 or 8 years old, sometimes even younger. I look at what Haley Barber and Phil Bryant have both done is in their terms. They've brought professional baseball. Haley with Trustmark Park, and now Phil Bryant with MGM Park here. And one of my aspirations has always been to give something back to the kids that are playing baseball here in the state of Mississippi. And so I've made an offer to the city of Jackson to build a stadium downtown, a smaller stadium, not anything like this, not a $36 million facility, but certainly one that would allow the children, the underprivileged, the opportunity to play a game that you can play for a lifetime, that you can turn into a career. If you look around the city of Jackson, they just don't have the facilities that they should have. And if we can build these types of facilities for people to come in from other countries, from other states, and play in, they're playing in the best facilities in the state of Mississippi, and a lot of them aren't from here. Why shouldn't we give our kids something equal to play in?
Tim Bennett, co-owner of the Biloxi Shuckers, on your radio this afternoon. Beautiful setting. Long way from Oxford, long way from Starkville. Have there already been thoughts or plans or invitations extended for Ole Miss or Mississippi State or Southern Miss, Hattiesburg, a whole lot closer, to play ball games here?
Yeah, I'm hoping that USM calls this their home away from home. So we are tentative with some agreements already. I don't want to be presumptuous and jump the gun. So I know that we'll have USM playing here. I'm certainly optimistic that we'll have Ole Miss and Mississippi State. I've hosted those teams, all three of those teams, along with the University of Alabama up at Trustmark. So I definitely anticipate that we'll do the same here.
I just have the feeling, too, in my gut that it just seems like that's something that all the universities, but especially Mississippi State and Ole Miss, the two largest, would be interested in because of the nature of the coast. That over the years it has felt like it was a different place maybe than other parts of the state, and you have so many different fan bases represented here that those schools and those programs would jump at the opportunity to have their colors seen here in a park in Biloxi.
Well, it's all about recruiting. I mean,
Yeah.
you ask any of the coaches or the athletic directors, I mean, you got to be able to recruit talent and not only recruit it but keep it. And next year, for example, Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College will play their entire home schedule here because their field is being worked on. It's going to be a huge opportunity for them to recruit players. And so being so close to Louisiana and Alabama and then being right in the center of the state as far as, from east to west is concerned, this is a huge recruiting opportunity for any school that comes here. And so I look forward to having any school that wants to be here, whether it's Ole Miss, Mississippi State, USM, LSU, Alabama. I'm going to go after all of them because I think it's a wonderful place to play, but greater than that, it's great for the fans.
Tim, it's a beautiful facility. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Tim Bennett, co-owner of the Biloxi Shuckers. Head-to-head Super Talk Mississippi in the Renaissance Bank Studio.